That is 10 Ton. It's called Everything You've Got, and it is Connect Radio. We love to get interesting people on and guests who have got a story to tell or a real skill to show us. So when we saw this come up, a gentleman called Harry Baker, who, I don't really know where to start, I'll be honest, because I'm so out of my depth when it comes to poetry. I don't know anything about it. So, Harry, what would you say your title is? Because you're more than just a poet, aren't you?
Yes, so I have always loved playing with words, but the most impressive sounding thing I've done is I'm the world poetry slam champion. So there's a few different words in there.
What does that mean? Slam champion. What does it mean?
So a poetry slam is a way of turning poetry into competition to make it sound more exciting. So people take it in turns to share something they've written themselves, and then people hold up scorecards at the end and vote for their favorite. So kind of like figure skating, Olympic diving, but with words. And if you get the highest score, you go through to the next round and it becomes this international tournament type thing. Most people are there agree it's quite hard to judge poetry, but it just adds the level of excitement on the day. And so I started going to these when I was a teenager and gradually made my way up to going to the Poetry World Cup. Is
this some sort of underground thing? I imagine almost a sort of empty car park, and you go underneath it and it's all dark and it's a case of, right, let the poetry begin. I've never seen these advertised anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's like Fight Club in its levels of advertising, which is maybe why not enough people go. But no, they are incredible. If you do ever get a chance to go along, it puts the emphasis on connecting with people in the room. And I think when poetry is at its best, it can hit you in the heart. It can make you laugh. It can make you cry. One of the reasons why people are put off it is I think they feel like it doesn't connect with them. So by putting people in the room in charge of who goes through or not, it then means it's all about reaching out to whoever's in front of you and trying to connect with them.
So what's the difference between a rap and a poem? Because the work that I've seen you do, there is a rhythm to it. There usually tends to be a rhythm to the words, which you may associate with rap. In particular, talking about films, the film 8 Mile, which is all about Eminem and his story and how he got into rap, he ends up in this underground car park spitting rhymes. What's the difference?
Yes. So I think some people, when they hear Poetry Slam, they think of rap battles and Eminem and that whole world. For me, I've always loved rap music and the lyricism in it. And that's kind of how I got into writing, was coming up with rhymes of my own, which is why, as you say, in my poetry, you can hear some of that. For me, the main thing is rap is normally done to music, but at its best, I think it can be poetry. And I think some of my favorite poetry can transfer to rap as well. So, it's not as clear cut as that, but it is, rap predominantly comes with the music first and the rhythm and stuff with that. Poetry can be a bit broader sometimes.
Is this something that's always existed? Because, poetry is thousands of years old, but we always imagine poetry as talking about a beautiful field which smells lovely, or at least I do. And then there's the classic poetry. So this style that you're doing, is it something that's only just come to the surface?
Yeah, so slam poetry in this form came around, I think, in the 80s in Chicago. There was a construction worker who loved it, but who felt like most of his peers were put off by the term poetry. They thought, like you say, it was talking about fields and flowers. But spoken poetry has gone back as long as we know. So, back in Roman times, apparently, they would have the equivalent of these rap battles. People would take it and turn it into a poem to whole amphitheaters for the people. So I think it's a very natural thing to us to use our words to express ourselves and to try and celebrate language in that way. But I think it's had more of a resurgence recently. So people talk about spoken word and you hear it on adverts in TV, and it's kind of being rebranded as this cool young thing. But it's always been around, I think.
So you're a professional at this. This is your full-time job. There can't be many people who can pay the mortgage through doing this.
Yes, and when I told the mortgage provider I was a poet, I had some raised eyebrows.
Because I mean,
But
well, on the actual mortgage application, you do have to put down your job title. And I get asked quite a lot. They go, radio presenter. But you must get that more than I do.
yeah, it's a constant struggle. Even when I was getting car insurance and I said poet over the phone, they thought I said pilot. And I think that feels riskier to them. So I had to, but I mean, one thing I love about my job is it encapsulates all kinds of things. So I do go into schools and do performances and workshops. So in that sense, I can call myself a teacher for my car insurance. But at other points, I'm on stage. As you know, I'm about to go on tour again. I was touring the country just before COVID hit. It's been the longest time since I've been on a stage in front of people. And so there's all kinds of elements to it. So for the last year, it has just been sitting at home performing to my computer. But I think one thing I love about it is the variety I do get in my day to day, because it's not a traditionally trodden career path. You can kind of make it up as you go along a bit.
This is amazing. So, would you mind performing twice for us? The first time, you've got something that you've already prepared. But I did see online you do a bit of a thing where you take words. So the person picks the words, and then you do a poem. You do a piece of a piece of work, a piece of material. What is it?
Yeah, so I think that is where it becomes closest to rapping and freestyling, where again, as I said, it feels like it's about connection. And one of the great things about performing live is it's different every time. Even if you're doing the same poems, it feels different, depends on who's on the room. So trying to lean into that, if you can respond to what's going around you, it creates this one-off unique piece of work, as you say. But yeah, I'd love to do something prepared as well, just so people don't think.
So what I'd like to do, if it's all right with you, of course, because this is live radio and we are putting you on the spot maybe slightly, but you've got your pre-prepared piece, which we'll have in a moment's time, but we want to set a challenge to our listeners. How many words can you fit in? So if I ask the audience, I say, right, we want such amount of words. How many can you realistically fit in?
Let's go between 5 and 10.
Okay, so let's go for 10, eh? Let's set the real challenge there. So 10, we want 10 words and you can select them, but you best be quick because we've only got the length of 3 minutes 43 before we'll give Harry the words. Do you need any time to prepare with these words or is it just basically off the cuff?
No, we'll do it off the cuff. It's more entertaining. It might not be as good, but it'll be funnier.
This is very exciting. So 10 words. You can send them through to us right now via email. Okay, so the email is studio@connectradio.com. Studio@connectradio.com. You've got 3 minutes to send them over, and then Harry will make us our very own production. I'm looking forward to this so much. Can there be any words?
Absolutely.
Anything at all?
Yeah.
Right.
No
so
limit.
Maybe the most random, the better. Things like hippopotamus. Anything goes.
If it's cat and dog.
Don't make it too easy. Yeah. Cat, dog, and mum. There we go. They're your 3 words. So send them over, studio@connectradio.com, and we'll put them to Harry in a moment's time. But over to you with your pre-prepared piece. This is Harry Baker, who is a professional poet who actually tours the country. Over to you, Harry.
Fantastic. So this is the poem that won the World Slam. So I like to introduce it as the best poem in the world, but it's called Paper People and hopefully it can show what I do. I like people. I'd like some paper people. They'd be purple paper people. Maybe pop-up purple paper people. Proper pop-up purple paper people. How do you prop up proper pop-up purple paper people? I hear you cry. Well, I'd probably prop up proper pop-up purple paper people with the proper pop-up purple people paper clip. But I pre-prepare appropriate adhesives as alternatives, a cheeky backup which just in case the paper slipped, because I could build a pop-up metropolis, but I wouldn't want to deal with all those paper people politics, paper politicians with the paper-thin policies, broken promises that appropriate apologies. There'd be a little paper me and a little paper you. And we could watch paper TV and it would all be pay-per-view. We'd see those poppy paper wrappers wrap about the paper package, or watch paper people carry it get stuck in paper track on the A4 paper. There'd be a paper Princess Kate. We'd all stare at paper Pippa, and we'd all live in fear of Killer Jack the Paper Ripper, because the paper propaganda propagates the people's prejudices. Papers printing pictures of the 40s and terrorists as a little paper me and a little paper you, and in a pop-up population, people's problems pop up too. There'd be that pompous paper parliament who remained out of touch and who ignored the people's protest about all this paper cuts, and then those peaceful paper protests would get blown to paper pieces by those confetti cannons by the preemptive police, and yes, there'd still be paper money. So there'd still be paper greed, and those paper piggy bankers pocketing more than they need, purchasing the potpourri to pepper their paper properties. Others live in poverty and aren't acknowledged properly. A proper poor economy with so many are proper poor, but while this needs ignored, the money goes to big wars, origami armies on for plans for paper planes, and we remain imprisoned by our own paper chains. But the greatest shame is that it always seems to stay the same. What changes is who's in power, choosing how to lay the blame. They're naming names, forgetting these are names of people. Because in the end, it all comes down to people. I like people. It's even when the situation's dire, it's only ever people who are able to inspire on paper. It's hard to see how we all cope. But in the bottom of Pandora's box, there's still hope, and I still hope, because I believe in people. People like my grandparents, who every single day since I was born have taken time out of their morning to pray for me. That's 8,396 days straight of someone checking I'm okay, and that's amazing. People like my aunt who puts on plays with prisoners. People who are capable of genuine forgiveness. People go out of their way to make your life better and expect nothing in return. You see, people have potential to be powerful. Just because the people in power tend to pretend to be, to succumb to that system. And the paper population is no different. So there's a little paper me and a little paper you. And we could watch paper TV and it would all be pay-per-view. And in a pop-up population, people's problems pop up too. But if the whole world fell apart, then we'd still make it through. Because we're people.
Wow, that was so powerful. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I mean, tongue twisters for you must be easy. You're the sort of person who Peter Piper picked up, and you know what? You can do that easily, can't you? I imagine. No problem.
That's where that poem started from, was just that love of playing with sounds and language and seeing what's possible. And then actually, once I was in it, it felt like there was room for the more personal stuff to come in too. And I think I love trying to combine the two. And so, yeah, as you say, I love a good tongue twister.
That's amazing. Well, keep your words coming through, because what we're going to do, we'll play Crowder with their new one, Milk and Honey. You've got 3 minutes 43 to get in touch with us with words that we can put to Harry. We're looking for 10 random words completely, and he will put a piece together live on the radio and he'll perform it. Send it through to studio@connectradio.com, studio@connectradio.com, or of course the text if you prefer, 88440. Start your message with Connect Radio, no space between Connect and Radio, 88440. Start your message with Connect Radio. And Harry will be going through our challenge after this from Crowder. Oh, we love this. Crowder with Milk and Honey, brand new from them, from him, whichever you want to call them. And this is Connect Radio, where it's a real pleasure. Talk about setting off our week on a high. This is so exciting. I love this. We're joined by Harry Baker, who is a professional poet. But just tell us your CV again, Harry, because you're not just a poet. What actually are you?
Well, the joy of being a poet is I've never needed an official CV, but I'm a poet / teacher / rapper / comedian.
Excellent. Well, we set you the challenge. Well, we set our listeners the challenge, and you'll be hopefully fulfilling the challenge with 10 random words, and you're going to put a piece together for us live on the radio. So as we imagined, we were inundated. It was almost a system of first come, first serve. So whoever got in there first, your words will be put to Harry. So if you got a pen and paper, in fact, do you even need a pen and paper? Can you just memorize them? Okay, right.
To make sure I get them all in. I don't want anyone to be disappointed.
So a few of them, I imagine, would be easier to fit in to a poem than others would be. So the first word is faith.
Lovely.
The second, well, the second word, I'm not sure if we should class this as 2 or 1, but somebody sent it through. Seeing as it's on this radio station, what about Connect Radio? So there we go. Always up for some promotion there, any way at all possible on the show. So Faith Connect Radio, we've got Hunger.
Fantastic.
Zebra.
Lovely.
You know the English language better than me, and maybe better than Nathan, who sent this through, because I don't even know what this means. If it's not a word, then we'll pick a different one. But he says it's pejorative. So P-E-J-O-R-A-T-I-V-E. Is that even a word?
Yes. I think if you use something in a pejorative sense, it's to put someone down.
There we go. He's got it there. And the next one is, this always comes up. There used to be years ago, this thing, Constantinople is a very long word. Can you spell it? And obviously people would go C-O-M, and you go, hey, no, I-T, it. So Constantinople is your next word. How many have you got? So Faith Connect Radio, Hunger Zebra, the one that you knew what it is, and I can't even say it. Constantinople. We've then got the name Margaret.
Lovely.
We've then got tired.
Wonderful.
The 9th word is magnificent.
Beautiful.
And the final one, kaleidoscopic.
Oh my goodness.
Now, to be honest with you, if I had to even put a story together and I had half an hour to include all those words in it, I wouldn't know where to start. But you're live on the radio, and this is your opportunity to showcase your skills. Not that we're questioning them, of course, but our listeners have sent over these 10 words. And Harry, it is now, in fact, let's get the fanfare ready. It is now over to you.
Fantastic. Hello, everyone. My name is Harry. This is going to be Crazy Yo on Connect Radio. It's good that I'm here. I know you're thinking that it's early. Even on the video, I'm looking a bit blurry, but that's okay. Say I've got a face for the radio. Instead, I've now got my faith for the radio. I'm doing this now. I'm doing it, of course. What's black and white and eats like a horse? It is a zebra. If it's got the hunger, we're going to do it now. We're never going under. This is going to be so good that you can't put it down like a pejorative. If that's not what it means, then I give you my apologies. Otherwise, we're going to go on with no worries. We're doing it now. We're keeping it noble. How do you spell it? I don't know, but I can spell Constantinople. Shout out to Margaret, calling it Marge for short. If you're having your breakfast, you might spread some Marge, of course. So we're keeping on. I'm feeling wired. It's early in the morning, but I hope you're not tired. We're going to keep it going big like an elephant. That may not be relevant, but it feels kind of magnificent. Gonna finish on a high. I know you feel this has gone off topic, but we're keeping it random like it's gone kaleidoscopic.
Hey, well done. Brilliant work there. And I was actually... just to say, and I'll hold this up to the screen, not that I was questioning if you could do it, but I have ticked them all off here.
Yes.
So as you were going, I was there going, yeah, there we go. It was almost like a poetry bingo. I quite like that. Well, that was brilliant. Well done. And thanks for being a part of the show. Now, the video we will put up in the next half hour or so. So you can also see the performance as long as you share it as well. That's the deal. You have to share it. And just tell us what you've got coming up, because you did mention that it's been a difficult time for you and all performers, hasn't it? Because you can't go out to a live audience. So you've got some gigs in the pipeline. Where can we see you? How can we find out more about you?
Yes, I'm very excited to be going back on tour, doing live gigs. Fingers crossed, no more restrictions. But from June and July, I'll be touring around the country, performing poems in front of rooms full of people. I cannot wait. So if you're interested in that, you can find all the dates through my social media or on my website, harrybaker.co. Or if you just search Harry Baker, it should hopefully come up. I would love to see you there.
Have you ever been confused by Hairy Biker?
Yeah, I had an Australian teacher at school, and whenever he said my name, it sounded a lot like Hairy Biker.
Isn't it funny, though, how sometimes those mistakes, they're so funny and it gives you so much content. I remember once, me and my brother Fraser, we were doing some sort of local gig. It was like a disco or something, and they printed all the posters out. So he's called Fraser, and they put the posters up. There was loads of them all over the area, and we used to see them in bars and clubs and takeaways. And they said, do join us for a special DJ set from Gareth and Francis Cottrell. So not Fraser Cottrell, Francis Cottrell. So we actually introduced him at the gig as, I'm Gareth, and this is my brother Francis Cottrell. But Hairy Biker, I imagine you can probably get a lot of content off that one.
Yep, and hopefully some cookery fans at my shows.
Well, Harry, thank you so much for being a part of this show. And it's so great what you're doing. And we wish you the best of luck. And we can tell that you're so excited to go out and perform again. You take care. And thank you for being a part of the show. And remember, if you search on the socials, Harry Baker, he's the first one that you'll come across, because there isn't many Harry Baker. Oh, there we go. Harry Bakers. And, well, we'll say that even if there is, he's the best.
Thank you so much.